Let's start. On September 5, 2025, the Supreme Court of India upheld the conviction of an accused in a murder case, emphasizing the evidentiary strength of dying declarations and the role of circumstantial evidence in criminal trials. The case involved the brutal killing of a woman in Uttar Pradesh, allegedly by her husband, who had poured kerosene and set her ablaze following a domestic dispute to para. The trial court had convicted the accused based primarily on the victim's dying declaration recorded by a magistrate in the presence of medical personnel. The High Court affirmed the conviction, noting that the declaration was consistent, voluntary, and medically certified. The accused appealed to the Supreme Court, arguing that the dying declaration was unreliable and that there was no direct eyewitness to the crime para. A bench comprising Justice Sanjay Kishan Kaul and P.S. Narasimha dismissed the appeal, holding that a dying declaration, if found truthful and recorded properly, can form the sole basis for conviction. The court reiterated that the absence of eyewitnesses does not weaken a case if the circumstantial evidence is strong and points unerringly to the guilt of the accused para. The bench observed that the victim had clearly named her husband as the perpetrator and described the manner of assault. The declaration was recorded within hours of the incident and the victim succumbed to her injuries 2 days later. The court noted that the magistrate had followed due procedure and that the doctor had certified the victim's fitness to give a statement para. The Supreme Court also addressed the broader principle of evaluating dying declarations. It held that courts must assess such statements on the basis of internal consistency, absence of coercion, and medical endorsement. The bench cautioned against rejecting dying declarations merely because they are uncorroborated, especially in cases where the victim is the only direct witness para. In addition to the dying declaration, the prosecution relied on circumstantial evidence, including forensic reports, burn patterns, and the recovery of kerosene containers from the accused residence. The court found that the chain of circumstances was complete and excluded any hypothesis of innocence para. The defense argued that the victim had sustained burns accidentally while cooking and that the dying declaration was arbitrated under pressure from her family. The court rejected this theory, noting that the burn injuries were inconsistent with a kitchen accident and that the victim had no history of mental instability or family conflict para. The judgment also cleared the role of motive in murder trials. The court held that while motive strengthens the prosecution's case, its absence does not automatically lead to acquittal if the evidence is otherwise sufficient. In this case, the prosecution had established a history of domestic violence and quarrels which supported the motive para. Legal experts have praised the judgment for reinforcing the value of dying declarations and providing clarity on circumstantial evidence. The ruling is expected to guide lower courts in handling cases where direct evidence is unavailable and the victim's statement is the primary source of truth para. In conclusion, the Supreme Court's judgment on September 5, 2025 affirms the principle that the dying declaration, when recorded properly and found credible, can serve as decisive evidence in criminal trials by upholding the conviction based on both direct and circumstantial evidence. The court has reinforced its commitment to justice and the protection of vulnerable victims. Stop. Thank you.